Right. Welcome back to my channel. My name is John, and I feel like I am finally ready to finish recording creation and the Elohim. So this is part 6. I have tried so many times to film this. Let's try now. 50th time's the charm, right? So this last part is entitled The Prodigal Returns Home. He had been a child when he left. As a child, he had natural strength, but not the knowledge or might to go against his father. On his return, the prodigal son saw the devastation that had happened in his absence, but he did not blame himself any longer for not being able to free his mother or fully stop Guile from enacting darkness. In divine order, and with the might and wisdom gained in his journey, the son overthrew Guile and restored the divine mother to her rightful place. Still, he doubted a little. Mother, the son said when he freed her, forgive me for being born. Forgive me for leaving you here. Knowing that he needed her reassurance, the divine mother answered his plea. I forgave you before you were born, she said. I love you, and I have always been proud of you. And at her words, the son finally saw how it had always been so. While the Great Mother could not control the creation of her son, by her desire she created a way through him to resolve the darkness of Guile. Darkness was part of the inheritance of the son. It was his to wield and his to master. Without it, he would not have had an understanding of the darkness, and therefore would have no knowledge of the contrast between it and the light of source. The son's desire to choose and align with light was his, yet it also aligned with the desires of his mother. As the son chose light at every opportunity, he gained greater alignment with source and therefore greater alignment with the might required to rule. Being exposed to both light and dark allowed for choice, which led to developing wisdom. As he grew wise, so he grew in love. His father's desire to create a being who would be able to rule all of creation also aligned with his desire. The son did not care who ruled, so long as that rule was just. Being capable of rule, the son decided to be just. He learned to judge rightly. He also learned to apply mercy where justice failed to meet the need. The son, having been adopted by Elohim and recognizing that Guile and Elohim were fragments of the Great Father, had a vantage point that allowed him to see clearly. When the Great Father cast aside his darkness or shadow, he did not realize that doing so would create a being that could overthrow the Great Mother. In the capture and disintegration of Guile, it was understood that Elohim must reintegrate the neutralized darkness in order to become whole. With the Great Father whole once more and the Great Mother freed, the groundwork for mending creation was finally anchored. The Divine Father and the Divine Mother, healed and reunited, were joined by the Divine Child in harmonious union. What was once born in suffering became embraced in joy. From this reunion, creation began to heal. Without the dissolution of Guile, many previous attempts at harmony had failed. Each failure had dragged away creation's hope and allowed for more darkness, more pain, more suffering. Guile and all the beings who had worked for and with him continued to enact conquest and oppression, even as the light aspect worked to establish peace and love. Guile's influence had protected Lucifer, but with Guile's dissolution, there was no place for Lucifer to hide. The sun had battled Lucifer many times, and each time had gained wisdom. This last time, the sun gained victory because he knew and embraced himself and his place in creation. As this truth came to light, Lucifer was dispatched. The work was not over, however. Full rectification, because it involved all of creation, would take all of creation to complete. Guile and Lucifer had not worked alone, and the template for splitting off darkness had continued in many creatures. The hope of each individual and their initial desire for creation needed to revive. As each creature awakened to hope, they began to awaken to their own power. Creation began to speak truth, unfettered by lies, and when they did so, each being remembered, as they were all creatures, they were all creators. True power empowers all. True leadership inspires all to participate in a common cause. The son in his travels had learned the truth he had been born with. Every aspect of creation is God, and when each aspect speaks, it is so. It is with the ending of this story that I share the wisdom for all light workers to understand and implement in their work. The magic of co-creation is this: unity in purpose, harmony of expression. We do not need to be someone else to embody our own power. We do not need to cast aside our own darkness to enact light. As we act in love with mutual respect for our unique desires, we create all of creation and give life to the universe of love. As we honor and embrace ourselves and our fellow beings, we place our own balance of light and dark into proper harmony. Let us do so now, for each creator has their own beautiful desire to add to the whole of creation, and the time to mend the split in creation is now. Much love to you all, glorious creators. Elohim. This message is channeled through Temperance, a judge in the spiritual courts. I find it interesting to come back to the concept of light and dark, especially after this past week's collective message about the difference between dark and black. It is difficult when I'm channeling information to put it into words that make sense. But the energy behind the words is the most important aspect. When it says the integration of one's own darkness, that is with the understanding of the contrast of the universe and the wisdom that we need to understand our own true desires. And when we understand our true desires, it is important for us to figure out where we have acted to meet those desires or to meet distorted desires. Because we are here to experience all that is, we are also here to find different ways to meet the needs of the all and to transmute the darkness into more light. If we see darkness as defined in part as lies, then we need to find the truth of it. My webcam just fell off of my computer, so I'm holding it. And each person who is here as a light worker has the ability and the requirement to transmute the darkness, not necessarily outside of themselves, but inside of themselves. It is important to embrace our shadow aspect and to put it in its proper place, because without the shadow, there is no light, and without the light, there is no shadow. When we come into wholeness, we come into mending the split of creation. Anyway, I hope you have an amazing day. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know what you think of the story in the comments. Love and light to you all.